How do I relax around attractive women?
I got this advice from an old friend. You're sitting across from the most beautiful woman in the world. A flawless woman. Completely perfect. You're utterly terrified. You have no idea what you should say. She seems so ethereal, so above you. But then you realize, at some point in her life, this woman has almost certainly had raging diarrhea. If you think about that, she's no longer the most beautiful woman in the world. She's just a person who eats, sleeps, and shits just like the rest of us. Once you realize that, the fear goes away. She's not some supernatural being. She's a person, just like you. You can talk to her just like you would talk to anyone else. It's a little crude, but it works. Next time you're freaking out around beautiful women, just remember that. Raging diarrhea. And your fear will disappear. You know those thoughts you say to yourself? Don't say anything stupid. I hope I look alright. Act calm. Don't eat like a pig. Stay cool. Maintain eye contact. What if I told you those were her thoughts? Just like yours. So just act normal. If you put someone on a pedestal, they'll have no choice but to look down upon you. It so happened that every time I saw an extremely beautiful woman on a train, in the theater, in the class, or just walking across the street, I became self-aware that she is used to men staring at her or giving her attention. So, I wanted to be the guy who didn't give her attention, and I felt very bad after she passed by that I didn't even look at her properly. There's nothing wrong if you look at a beautiful woman, but my inferiority complex just bugged my mind. I was like Chandler stuck in that ATM. Things have changed now. No, I haven't changed. My definition of an attractive woman has changed. Fair and glowing skin, silky hair, big eyes, appropriate hip-to-bust ratio, that hint of cleavage and perfectly chipped nails, and a cute crop top don't move my soul. I find a woman attractive if they're friendly, humble, mature and understanding so that I can be my weird self around them. Plus, being intelligent helps, and so does money in the pocket. Not my pocket. Apparently, some women are sapiosexuals out there. Now, I find that being out of the game, so to speak, because I'm married, makes it a lot easier to not care if a woman is attractive. When I was younger and single, I had a different approach. I was not attractive back then. Not now either. I knew before I said hello that I had no chance with an attractive woman, and, deep down, I hated that. My emotions were a lot darker when I was in my teens. As a result, when I was around attractive women, I made it a point to act like they weren't attractive, like I didn't even notice it. My mindset was this: I'm not going to give them the satisfaction of thinking I find them attractive. Even if I do, I'm going to act like I don't. I won't let them win. Immature, I know. I'm glad I grew out of it. The thing is, and I know this now, a lot of attractive women prefer that mentality from guys. They don't like the feeling that all guys are only being nice to them because they're attractive. Or so I've been told. Thus, by pretending like I didn't think they were attractive in an effort to make myself feel better, I made them feel better too. Best advice I was given as a young man: if you find yourself in a social situation with a woman who is distractingly beautiful, imagine yourself as gay. That will help you talk to her with confidence, and also avoid coming across as creepy or hitting on her. I don't know if it helps others, but it certainly helped me. I will admit it is hard. Even today, I still get a bit nervous around really attractive women. Thankfully, most of the really attractive women I run into are much younger and are in mentor groups, so keeping it professional helps. With age and experience, and millions of dollars, comes a sense of confidence that helps offset the nervousness. I find that for the most part, I can relax. Of course, 1 or 2 vodka martinis also helps. Start to think you are more attractive than her. Start to think she might be dumb. Start to think she might be a gold digger. Start to think she might have taken an hour or more to achieve that flawless look. Start to think she must be arrogant. Start to think about the positives you have and the negatives she might have. Start to think you won't find her attractive enough after you talk to her. But the easiest way might be to either reach out and compliment her with confidence without worrying about the consequences, or leave the place before you start to lose your cool. I'll share a story about a friend of mine. She is my classmate turned friend turned sister. When we were nearing the end of our teens, a new guy shifted to our neighborhood. He was slightly older and a friend of our elder brother's. While we slotted him as Bia, elder brother, Moni, my friend, viewed him differently. She pointed out to us that he was a guy. And that's different from a brother. She used to hang out near his home and blush furiously even if he absent-mindedly smiled at her. But no matter what she did, he was not quite aware of her. Now Moni was pretty. She was the best in our group. We prayed to become like her. But, when she was around that guy, she was all jittery. At first, of course. Later on, she relaxed and became casual in her interactions with him. No more hanging around for a glimpse of him. She became mature in her behavior. And the best part is, he started seeking her out. We were intrigued. When we asked her about the magic she spun around him, she laughed and denied doing anything of that sort. She said, "I simply started being myself. I stopped being a craver and just saw him as one of the guys. I treated him like any other friend. That worked in my favor." That's the key. Stop measuring and worrying about your attractiveness quotient against attractive women and be yourself. Those women are human and might be vulnerable too. Their looks are just an external factor. Deep down, they are just like other people, with their own set of fears. Just be cool and confident. Self-confidence is a person's biggest asset. Remember, handsome is as handsome does. Be true to your inner self. Your honest persona will be a magnet like no other. Hey, how do I not be so nervous around attractive men? I asked one of my friends. Well, you do realize that attractive people do take a dump too, right? They let out nasty farts, sneeze ugly, lose their balance over non-existent things and ask seemingly stupid questions, just like the rest of us do. They're not that special, you know, was his response. Imagine those attractive men doing those things whenever you approach them. I tried. It kinda worked, kinda didn't. Why? Most of them display high leadership qualities, are incredibly charming and kind. Not to mention well-equipped with brains and looks, too. I felt out of place. I'm like, of this height, this size, with only this much social skills, with only this much courage, and with only so much knowledge about the world. They somehow overwhelm me. Then I looked at the people I'm friends with. They're just like me. We don't really have anything we consider superior to the other. Because I know their weaknesses and strengths, and they know mine. We're different. And yet we're the same. That's when it dawned upon me. Attractive people overwhelm me because I don't know them yet. So I tend to attribute them to only their strengths. Almost like they don't have any real flaws. The next time I approach an attractive person, I do not think of them as a person of only good qualities. I think of them as just another imperfect human. With strengths and weaknesses. But most importantly, I do not degrade them, neither do I put them on a pedestal. I just approach them as I would a friend. I disagree with majority of the answers suggesting seeing her as a human being too, imagining her shitting, so hilarious, etc. The problem with these types of ideas is that they do not work, at least not in my own experience. Best they can do is create a fake confidence with a weak foundation, and these women can sense it. Let's face it. When a man isn't confident around a woman, it means one thing and one thing only, that this woman is above him in the social ladder, or at least that is what he perceives. The only true way to be confident around attractive women is exposure therapy. You have to expose yourself to as many attractive women as you can over time, until you realize there's nothing special about them. There is no shortcut to this. Also, you should work on becoming the type of man that these women look up to, and not the other way around. There's something called social hierarchy, where people are generally attracted to the ones they perceive as higher or more valuable than them in some way. Imagine a fashion designer or photographer that deals with and interacts with hot models every day. Do you really think such a person will have problems interacting with hot women? Impossible. So I think it's best a man works on himself, his personality and his finances. These are the things that bring true confidence, and true confidence cannot be faked. Talk to them, not at them. That's it. These other answers are amusing. Imagining them taking a crap. Diarrhea, guys? Really? No. Not gonna work. How are you going to engage with her in a meaningful way if you're thinking about stupid shit? If anything, you need to get out of your head and into hers. I've dated a few women in the last 10 years or so that were breathtaking. Seriously, I would see them for the first time of the day and nearly gasp for a moment. Then it would pass, and it was back to interacting with a person made up of thoughts, feelings, aspirations, and curiosities. You know, an actual person. Here's a short story. When my father died a couple years ago, I had to catch a flight and head west for his funeral service. On my connecting flight out of D.C., I ended up in the middle seat with a beautiful Hispanic woman. She sat next to me in the window seat. As fate would have it, our flight was delayed due to a storm front moving in and all planes headed west were grounded. We got stuck on the tarmac for over 2.5 hours. We were quiet at first, but then small talk slowly commenced. Mainly about our current dilemma and concerns over how this would affect our connecting flights and other travel plans. One thing led to another, and before we left the ground for our 3-hour flight, we were chatting up a storm. We talked a lot about self-improvement and her journey becoming a life coach. We shared our insights on human behavior and wellness, and the best books that we had read and our favorite motivational speakers. We went from worried about missing our connecting flights to virtually unconcerned and perfectly fine with the current situation being prolonged further. We discussed, as an afterthought, well, if we miss our flights, we can always get a hotel room or catch a later flight. We hit a rough patch of turbulence for a bit that had me kind of unnerved. She was unfazed. She did a lot of traveling and it was barely noticeable to her. I'll tell you though, it was the only time I felt anxious about the experience, and it had nothing to do with her. When we touched down, she gave me her phone number. I didn't ask for it nor did I hint at it. She offered it up. Simple as that. When we departed the plane and made our way into the terminal, it was time for us to part ways. Her connecting flight was in the opposite direction from mine. It looked as though it was cutting it close, but she would make it if she hustled it. We hugged, and she looked at me and told me she was so happy to have talked to me. It was a wonderful conversation we had, that never let up. She hugged me again, and then kissed me on the cheek. I held her hands and told her how much I enjoyed her company. We agreed that it was rare to meet someone that could share so many wonderful thoughts and ideas freely. I hugged her again and I gave her a kiss on her cheek, to which she chirped, "Oh." When I pulled away, she held both of my hands and looked me in the eye, so I went for it. We kissed. And kissed some more. All with waves of people slipping and dodging around us right in the middle of a busy airport. By then, she was just a person I felt connected to. Her appearance wasn't much of a factor in those moments. I felt relaxed and at home in our embrace. It felt right. If you want to relax around attractive women, forget about what you see. Talk to them, connect to them, and focus on what you feel and what she has to say. It's so much better when you see their true beauty, and that kind of beauty is always skin deep. Trust me, they will love you for it. Good luck. Are you confident and easygoing around women that you don't find attractive, but freeze up around women you really like? Does your mind sometimes go blank when talking to a girl you like? Do you sometimes notice women that you'd like to approach and who seem open to you, but you freeze up and let the opportunity slip through your fingers? If you answered yes to any of those questions, don't worry, most guys experience that. So, how can you get over it and start being the confident guy around women that you know you can be? Tip 1. Learn how to attract women. The main reason why guys freeze up around girls they like is that they don't even know how to make her feel attracted. Most guys know how to get women to like them as a person, but making her feel sexually attracted to you is a completely different thing altogether. Tip 2. Build up your confidence to approach the women you find attractive. When you know how to attract women, approaching them becomes less of a big deal because you know that most of the women you approach will be attracted and interested in you. However, if you're like most guys, you can rarely work up the courage to approach and talk to the girls you really like. This, by the way, will become a huge advantage for you when you actually build up the confidence to approach women. When you are one of the rare guys who isn't afraid of approaching and talking to pretty girls, you will notice that there is hardly any competition. Most guys just wait in the shadows hoping that women like them enough to approach or give a signal that they want to be approached. Yet, women rarely do that unless a guy is really good looking. Most guys, including me, don't get approached by women because of their looks, so they have to grow a pair of balls, walk up to the girl and then make her feel attracted in ways other than looks. Tip 3. Stop trying to be liked for being nice. There's nothing wrong with being the good guy that you are, but being nice to a woman isn't what makes her wet. If you want a woman feel sexually attracted to you, it won't happen by being nice to her. You have to make her feel sexually attracted to you in other ways, e.g. being confident, having a masculine vibe, making her laugh, etc. Tip 4. Be a bit of a challenge to impress. If a woman is attractive, most guys will be willing to have sex with her simply based on her appearance. Many of those guys will also be willing to start a relationship with her, even if she doesn't have the type of personality that he really wants. After a while, a woman gets bored of this and hopes to meet a guy who is a bit more of a challenge to impress. Tip 5. Improve your conversation skills. If you often run out of things to say when talking to women you like, most of those women won't help you out. They would rather lose the opportunity to be with you than guide you through the process of picking them up. To be successful at picking up women for sex or a relationship, you have to be able to keep a conversation going and keep it interesting for long enough for you and the woman to truly connect with each other. If a woman is attractive, most of the guys who see her will be willing to have sex with her. To stand out from the crowd, you've got to be able to make her feel attracted to you during a conversation and then create a unique and unforgettable connection. Being confident around women is within your control. If you get tongue-tied around beautiful women, it doesn't mean that you can't ever get to a point where you are completely confident and in control. The reason why you freeze when you talk to her is because you are putting more focus on the conversation going on inside your head, rather than the conversation you're having with her. For example, you might be thinking, does she like me, or what should I say, or how can I impress her, rather than just being confident, relaxed and allowing the interaction to play out. Women are turned off by guys who are too in their head during a conversation because it indicates a lack of confidence. A woman knows that she will have the best type of sexual experience with a guy who isn't worried about messing up or impressing her. When having sex with a guy, a woman wants him to not worry about a thing and just be who he is. The same applies to when you're talking to her and seducing her into a sexual relationship. She doesn't want you to be worrying a lot and trying hard to impress her. As long as you are making the woman feel attracted to you, there is no need to try hard to impress her or get her to like you because she will already be impressed and like you because she feels attracted to you. If you want to be successful at picking up women, you have to start everything off with attraction. If you approach and talk to women and try to get them to like you, most women will get bored and play hard to get. After a while, she will either leave the conversation, reject you, or simply hook up with another guy in front of you who is actually making her feel attracted.
Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future also. Don't forget to like and subscribe to you never miss a video.